In the late summer of 1945, Japan was a nation brought to its knees. The once proud empire was now a landscape of smoldering ruins and profound despair. Cities like Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya had been turned into vast, desolate plains of ash and rubble by relentless bombing campaigns. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki had introduced a new, unthinkable level of destruction, leaving behind a legacy of horror that would haunt generations. The immediate aftermath of the war was a daily struggle for survival. Food was incredibly scarce, forcing people to forage for anything edible, and the specter of starvation loomed large over the entire population. The nation's infrastructure was completely shattered, with roads, railways, and ports lying in ruins. The mood of the Japanese people was one of deep shock and disorientation. The arrival of American forces in August 1945 marked the beginning of a new and unprecedented chapter in Japan's history. General Douglas MacArthur, as the supreme commander for the Allied powers, became the de facto ruler of Japan. The initial goals were clear demilitarization and democratization. The once mighty Imperial Japanese Army and Navy were completely dismantled, their weapons destroyed, and their leaders put on trial for war crimes. The Americans drafted a new constitution, which was adopted in 1947 and remains in effect today. This document fundamentally transformed Japan's system of government, stripping the emperor of his divine status and establishing parliamentary democracy. Social reforms were equally profound, touching every aspect of Japanese life. Sweeping land reforms transferred ownership to tenant farmers, women were granted voting rights, and the massive zaibatsu conglomerates were broken up to promote competition. The American-led reforms went beyond politics and economics. They aimed to reshape the very soul of Japanese society. The goal was to cultivate new values centered on individualism, critical thinking, and democratic principles. One of the most significant changes was the liberation of public discourse. Under the military government, censorship had been absolute. The occupation brought new freedom of expression, and newspapers and magazines flourished with newfound openness. The legal system underwent a complete overhaul to protect individual rights and establish the rule of law. The new constitution guaranteed fundamental human rights, and the judiciary was made independent to ensure government accountability. Central to the long-term vision of a new Japan was the complete transformation of its education system. The pre-war system had produced obedient subjects. Now it would create democratic citizens capable of critical thinking. The structure was fundamentally changed to a single-track 633 system modeled after America. Coeducation became the norm, and teachers were retrained to encourage questioning and debate rather than rote memorization and blind obedience. A new generation grew up learning about individual rights, peace, and democracy instead of war and conquest. The emphasis on science, engineering, and critical thinking created innovators who would build world-leading companies, proving that knowledge is the most powerful engine for national reconstruction. As Japan found its footing, its focus shifted decisively toward economic reconstruction. With military ambitions extinguished, the nation channeled collective energy into industry and commerce. The Ministry of International Trade and Industry guided this process through strategic cooperation. The Korean War provided an unexpected boost to the Japanese economy. The United States used Japan as its procurement base, placing huge orders for trucks, uniforms, and military supplies. This flood of dollars injected vital capital and kick-started the engine of economic growth. Japanese companies became known for relentless focus on quality and innovation. Visionary leaders like Akio Morita of Sony and Soichiro Honda championed new approaches. They didn't just copy Western technology, they improved upon it through concepts like Kaizen continuous improvement. New industries flourished, transforming Japan into a technological powerhouse. Steel became the world's most efficient, shipbuilding boomed. Electronics companies produced innovative consumer goods like the transistor radio, and automotive laid groundwork for future global dominance. The story of Japan's comeback is fundamentally about millions of ordinary men and women who, with extraordinary resilience, rebuilt their lives, homes, and cities from the ground up. Their quiet, tireless labor was the true foundation upon which the new Japan was built. Small businesses became the lifeblood of recovery. Shopkeepers whose stores had been destroyed set up stalls in black markets. Skilled artisans created workshops in temporary shelters. These entrepreneurs brought economic life back to devastated urban centers. The salaryman became a new cultural hero. These white-collar workers dedicated their lives to companies rebuilding the nation, embodying values of loyalty, hard work, and collective effort. In return, companies offered lifetime employment, creating stability and shared purpose. A new consumer culture emerged as people dreamed of comfort and modernity. The three sacred treasures, television, washing machine, and refrigerator, became symbols of middle-class aspiration. Families saved diligently, and their dreams expanded from survival to prosperity. If there was a single moment that announced Japan's return to the world stage, it was the 1964 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. This was far more than a sporting event. It was a national project to show the world that Japan had been reborn as a peaceful, prosperous, and technologically advanced nation. The technological showcase was stunning. These were the first Olympics broadcast internationally via satellite, and Japan unveiled the Shinkansen bullet train, whisking passengers at unprecedented speeds. This marvel of engineering became an enduring symbol of Japan's post-war innovation and efficiency. The opening ceremony was a moment of profound national pride. The final torchbearer was Yoshinori Sakai, born in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, the day the atomic bomb was dropped. He represented a new generation, born from the ashes of war, carrying a flame that symbolized peace, hope, and human resilience. As he lit the cauldron, there was collective catharsis, a feeling that Japan had finally closed a dark chapter and stepped into a new, brighter future. The successful Olympics validated 2 decades of hard work, restoring national pride and confidence shattered by war. By the late 1960s, Japan had completed its transformation from vanquished enemy to global economic leader. Its cars, electronics, and industrial products dominated world markets, and Made in Japan became a synonym for quality and innovation. The lessons are profound. First is the incredible power of human resilience and shared purpose. Faced with total destruction, the Japanese people channeled collective energy into rebuilding. This unity of purpose was the essential ingredient in their success. Another key lesson is the willingness to learn, adapt, and innovate. Japan adopted American models but didn't simply imitate. It adapted them to its culture and relentlessly improved upon them. This blend of humility and ambition allowed Japan to leapfrog other nations. Finally, Japan's story is a powerful testament to the dividends of peace. By renouncing war and focusing resources on development, Japan embarked on sustainable prosperity. Energy once poured into military expansion was redirected into building industries, schools, and infrastructure. Japan's post-war comeback is more than an economic success story. It is an inspiring narrative of how a nation can rise from the depths of defeat to become a beacon of peace, innovation, and human potential. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.